Do you think, so I agree, that was kind of my point too, that they're leaving money on the table, so there must be a reason. But is your doubt that they would be able to actually get that money, or your doubt that they think the league can be good? Because to some extent, I don't think that any of us have any doubt that they could find 30 people to pay them $2 million, even 5. I think we would all probably agree they could find 30 people to pay them $5 million, no problem, probably do it in 6 months. So if we agree on that premise, then why do they care? Like, does it matter that unless they think that by not charging people, they give the league a better chance of being successful? Because all else equal, why would they care if they can get the money? Even if they're not confident about it, why wouldn't they take the money anyway? Because $150 million at a failed league is better than $0 at a failed league.
I think they looked at what happened. I'm gonna parrot Lindsay's point, which was like, I think they looked at Activision Blizzard and said, we don't want to be that, right? That was a mess, right? Like we don't want to go there. And so by charging nothing, I'll twist your words a little bit, Jeff. It's not doubt that it's not about giving the league a higher chance of success by not charging. It's that should the league fail, they're not Activision Blizzard. Right? Should the league fail,
less in their coffers. So I don't know. It seems like a bad. Yeah. I don't understand the logic, though. You may be right. But it's a weird logic. It's like, well, even if it fails, people won't hate us because we made money.
Yep. But that matters. Their reputation's not burned, to Jimmy's point, for the next 3 games that they may want to do leagues with, right? And maybe they're worried about burning their reputation on Valorant, and so by charging nothing, it's only upside, right? It's all rainbows and daisies. Lindsay, sorry, you were going to say something.
No, that was more the assessment I took than, hey, we think this league might fail, and we don't want to take your money in that case. I think it's much better protection. I also think Riot has, obviously, like, the LCS Championship is one of the most successful esports leagues and events out there. So they have the infrastructure to be able to build a community in a really natural way. And so I think removing the barrier to entry only encourages more people to get excited about this, in a sense, because they're allowing it to kind of develop naturally in a way, like I said, we've seen with free-to-play games. Where, like, just taking away that barrier to entry, no matter how small or large, makes actually a huge difference in building the player base. So in a gaming world where, like, everything is about community and authenticity, and the 2 words that I just hear day in and day out, I do think that this is kind of it at least is a wholehearted approach to those 2 words in a way that I think a lot of people will appreciate.
I agree. Matt says if they're charging nothing, then isn't this nothing more than a glorified marketing play for Valorant and Riot? Glorified marketing play is maybe a little harsh, but there's definitely less downside for everyone. It feels like there's less risk all around. Is what they sort of have achieved here. Matt says, like, what is Riot's end goal here? What do they want to achieve? I think that's what none of us have come to a solid conclusion on, right? Like, we don't really know. Is it making this as big a league as League, or is it like just don't sink, or is it somewhere in between, right? Like, it's not clear to me. I don't know if it's clear to you guys, the answer to that question in terms of their goals specifically.
I think their goal is to make it as successful as League. Will that happen? Probably not. Almost definitely not. But I don't think they're going into this project saying, well, we hope not to be Overwatch. Like, that would be a really bad mindset from a corporate. Riot's way too successful, and the people that are working there are way too impressive. And, like, I have a lot more enough respect for them to think that that's probably not, like, the way they're approaching this.
I don't know if their goal is to be as successful as League. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think League is a big brother, and it's an amazing success story. And if they can get 1/10 the success of League, then that's still a win. I think the goal here is, hey, let's get as many people as we can to play this game. And esports is a fun way to engage with younger audiences and to get people's continued interest in the game. When you make it competitive, people want to watch and see who wins the competition, right? And by making that barrier to enter the competitive scene as low as possible, you continue to create that cycle of having people that want to play, that can afford to play, that will compete and continue to generate interest. So I think it's its own thing. I don't think they're looking at other. Obviously, they'll take fundamental learnings and apply it throughout, their catalog and their future development. But I don't think they're like, how do we match that success? I really think it's just, how do we get people to get excited about this and to continue to play this and to be interested by it? So Matt's not completely wrong that it's like definitely a strong marketing play, but it's also an incentive for people to compete and to play their game. And I think that's the goal here is increasing that interest.
Kevin says the game is basically a copy of CS. They're probably trying to go for a share of that market since it's clearly a pillar of esports. I mean, Kevin, I think that's an interesting take, right? That this is more about capturing market share, not dollars, right? And maybe they think by making it free, there's a higher chance that they'll take market share from CS. I kind of like that take. I think that's a super interesting and insightful theory. Not something I thought about. But I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think that sounds like reasonable in terms of one of the like a best tinfoil hat theory here on charging zero. Adam says if someone's watching / playing Valorant, they aren't watching playing CS:GO, Overwatch. That's probably the end goal. Yeah, I mean, Adam, you and Kevin on the same wavelength here. Super interesting that you guys came to this conclusion that this is more about capturing of competitive like market share or sinking CS:GO or Overwatch, right? That's kind of interesting. Make it free and make it almost impossible for the other guys to compete. Antonio says, do they play Valorant in Europe? There will be teams. I think the article mentioned the regions that are going to have teams will be North America, Brazil, and Latin America. So I don't know if European teams fit into that. But it sounds like not. I think Valorant's really going to be more America's focused. Christian says, I'm biased. CSGO is incredibly more entertaining to watch. I mean, Christian, you're always going to have hardcore fans, right? Like, I think that's inevitable, but it is possible to take market share. Adam says, that's where the last big tournaments have been. In Europe, I assume is what you're referring to, Adam. I think we covered it on a past live stream. There was some thinking around why they wanted to be more America's focused. It's not coming back to me that we covered like sort of their plan around Valorant in one of the past live streams. But this league seems to be more America's focused. At least that's where they see the opportunity.